taxis at your garage. Have you noticed any change in the numbers of vehicles that are traveling in and out here to fill up? I mean, some of these are long-distance vehicles as well.
Yes, there is an increase on the vehicles that are filling up. And remember, the big days have already started. So people are traveling, whether they're coming from Johannesburg for home or coming from Durban. So yes, there is an increase.
What is the sense that you are getting from the people that come here, both the motorists as well as people that walk into your shop? Are they taking this seriously?
Look, COVID is actually something that is new in the whole country, but we are trying to actually urge them to use their mask and use them in a proper way. And we are taking temperatures as well, and they are cooperating, I must say.
And your staff as well, I see a lot of them are walking around. I mean, now it's become especially important for them to sanitize, for example, the houses, to also sanitize the stuff that they are using as well. Are you managing with that?
Yes, we are trying to actually encourage the staff to constantly sanitize their hands. Yes, it is difficult because remember, they are also using cash. We don't know whether the cash is contaminated or what, but we are trying our level best to ask and actually encourage them to use sanitizer.
Thank you very much for your time. You know, Sally, I think the message that we've been just putting out today is that, yes, we have to take this seriously, but there are ways and means to still enjoy this festive season, even here in the Eastern Cape. And that's exactly what we are going to do, taking all of the necessary precautions as we continue our journey. We will get into Port St. John's later today, and tomorrow when we speak, I'll be telling you about all of the fun activities that we had lined up.
Wonderful. You know, Port St. John's is an absolutely beautiful town. You're going to have an absolute blast there, Dasen. I can see, looking at all of you, you've all got very tired eyes. I can see it's been a long day on the road. But it is just so exciting, isn't it? And Justin Ford, I'd like to bring you in here. I know that you've been in OUDTSHOORN in the Western Cape, and it's been really an exciting day. But there's also a moment of sadness. Tell us more.
Absolutely, Sally. What a fun day we've had. Starting out in Cape Town, leaving this morning at roughly 9 o'clock, made our way through to Barrydale, had some lunch at the Karoo Art Hotel. Following that, had a lovely bush safari at the Buffels Rift Game Lodge. But we find ourselves at our final stop, Turnberry Boutique Hotel, where I am joined by the owner, Neil Els. And the sad reality about the COVID-19 pandemic is simply, we've come to this establishment and we find ourselves as the only guests. He's opened up his boutique hotel to us. A very sad moment to realize that tourism, local tourism, and let alone international tourism, is something of the past at the moment for these restaurant, or at least hospitality and bed and breakfast and boutique hotels. Neil, no better person to chat to you about this. Surely a tough time for you. It's been a good couple of months now. December period should be your busiest period. You mentioned so many places in this particular area, OUDTSHOORN being a tourism hub. How difficult has it been?
It's terrible. I mean, we've been closed now for 9 months. Now, for any business to go without a cent of income for 9 months is just unheard of. And we have to survive. Somehow we have to survive because it will change. The storm will end at some stage, and then we've got to be ready for that. But in the meantime, we have to survive. And that is our biggest issue. And the government is not making it easy for us. You know, with these ridiculous rules and protocols they put in place, especially with the beaches and stuff like that, it's, you know, it's just like we're not only fighting the virus, we're fighting stupidity also in this country and all over the world, it seems. I just hope that common sense will prevail, and that we get out of this with not too many scars.
The positive attitude that you have, I think, in a time like this is what is required. Is there a light at the end of the tunnel? We have a fire burning, and hopefully that's symbolic for the fire that you have within inside you to ensure that you're not going to unfortunately close your doors, that you keep going. What is the plan? Is there something that you have in mind to be able to say, you know, should we be able to come and visit you next year? You say, you know what, Justin, 2021 has been fantastic. We've managed to stay afloat.
Well, you know, it looks promising towards the end of the year with international travelers coming back, and our bookings are looking good. And also with the Kunstefeest coming end of March, we are fully booked. We're sold out. The problem with that is those are all the guests that booked last year, and it was cancelled right at the beginning or at the start of the Kunstefees. So they all got vouchers. So all come and stay for free now for the second time. We got the money for the first time, but, you know, business works in a different way. So that is a huge challenge for us. But going forward and looking ahead, I'm sure that in a year's time, we will look back at this and say, why did we struggle so much? Why did we stress so much? Because we survived. And I think that is what keeps us going. We will survive.
Fantastic, Neil. Wishing you all the best. Sally, well, there you heard it. Sad times for sure, but I think the optimistic nature of Neil is something to be admired, and he's promised to put something on that fire once the coals are ready. So we're looking forward to enjoying that and winding off day one of our holiday road trip.
Well, thank you very much, Justin. Yes, you know, your guest is visibly frustrated, and you can really have a lot of sympathy, but at the same time, when you hear what's happening in the hospitals along the garden route, it's also a very worrying situation indeed. And then finally, Nqobile, Madlala, you've been in the Eastern Free State, LADYBRAND. Tell us a little bit more about the gems you've discovered there.
Well, Sally, the Eastern Free State is known to be an area where a lot of people farm. So it's been quite interesting to drive in that area because it's been just beautiful. Just looking all around us, it's just been amazing scenery. But when we finally made our way from Johannesburg to Free State, when we finally got to the first stop, which was the roadside restaurant, it was also very interesting to see that you can actually have a restaurant on wheels, which was very interesting, very nice, very beautiful. There was lots of color there. We loved it. The people are very nice, like sincere. And it was also quite interesting to see that in a restaurant itself, there were so many restrictions. I mean, in terms of regulations, not a single person was just walking around without a mask. Instead, they all sat in a certain place and they had their mask on. And also, it was physically able to be in a sense of distancing because the cars were parked in separate areas, very far from each other. But, Sally, what was even more nicer about that restaurant was that it felt like a home because everything that they were creating was based around family. In fact, the person that we spoke to, which was Paula Dutoy, she was telling us that her husband was a collector and the cars that she was using was basically her husband, and that they had turned it into a restaurant. So what a beautiful story it is. And the chef is actually their son, which was even more amazing. And they worked together to come up with these beautiful cuisines to basically pimp them up, if I may say. The food was really amazing. We just dove right straight into it, Sally. We couldn't stop. It smelled amazing. It was nice. The people were amazing. And, you know, they were saying also that because they're on the road, for them, business hasn't been affected so much because a lot of truckers were coming through, but also they were having issues with the municipality with regards to the liquor, as they were trying to get the liquor license and all of that because of the zoning, which was a bit of somber news for them. But definitely everything there working very nicely. In fact, Sally, they had a sin table, which was all the sweets you can think of. Now, we all know that adds to the hips and it's not good for us. But as we went along, Sally, we got into one of the vineyards, which was...
We'll worry about what it does to our hips in January.
We got to one of the vineyards, Sally. Well, Sally, it is December and we're worried about the summer body, but with the lockdown it's been very difficult to keep that in check. So we did dive a little bit to that sin table and hope that January will come with the great news like you were saying. But then we drove down about 45 minutes to an hour to a vineyard where also again very lovely, Sally. It was a family. We met John and Trish who were also working together. Now there we got to do wine tasting. Now, we didn't do this on camera because we're thinking about all the lockdown regulations at the moment, okay? So, but it was lovely to see how they actually worked together to create this wine. And they were saying that they're one of the most producing vineyards in the highlands. That's what they explained us to. And they're saying that it's not big, Sally, it's not very huge, but it's an area where they work together and they help each other. And we met there, a gentleman called
Sounds
Vusi,
amazing.
who also has been groomed, has been taught everything from little,
Nqobile,
and now he knows how to make sure.
That's amazing. I think you're making such a wonderful point. That the Free State is not just a province to drive through on your way somewhere else. And thank you so much, Nqobile, Justin, Dasen. I can see you're all tired. You've had long days, long hours on the road. Go and have a lovely dinner. Go and get some rest, because the road trip will continue. And we will hear from you during the course of the week. Thanks very much to all three of you. What a lovely time they are having in it.